Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 53 based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng stepped on the ground, his head touching the edge of the starry sky, overlooking the tiny thing. Liu Yinhu merged into the world and disappeared. I am very strong in close combat, but my means of trapping the enemy are much worse. Liu Yinhu wanted to leave, and I couldn't stop him. Luo Feng thought that he had finally entered the Chaos Realm and the time was relatively short. After this battle, the outside world believed that he was at the peak of the Chaos Realm, focusing on his physical body. But Luo Feng knew very well that the reason why his body was so strong was that, on the one hand, the perfect divine body that had grown to the limit was comparable to the top of the Chaos Realm, and on the other hand, he had comprehended many transformation methods with his invisible and formless abilities, and the transformation methods were more effective for him than some body-refining methods. The most basic component of the perfect body that had grown to the limit was still divine power, while the most basic unit of the transformation method contained life spirituality. It has already undergone a qualitative change, and the change in form has made the perfect body too terrifying. Ha! Luo Feng shrank instantly, returned to his original normal size, and landed in the city lord's mansion. Brother Luo He, Brother Luo He. Jiu Jianghu excitedly stepped forward at this moment, his face full of gratitude, and his attitude was very humble. I really didn't expect that my small Jiujiang chaos state would have Brother Luo He come to live in seclusion. It is really a blessing for my entire Jiujiang chaos state. Before, I mistakenly thought that Brother Luo He was the eternal true God. I was really neglectful. Jiu Jianghu is polite, Luo Feng said. Speaking of which, I had only met Jiu Jianghu a few times before, so naturally our relationship was not that deep. But after spending a few times together, Jiu Jianghu was still quite kind. When Liu Yinhu started to attack, Jiu Jianghu also helped to stop him. Luo Feng also had a good impression of Jiu Jianghu. Brother Luo He, I have prepared some ordinary food and drinks, let's sit down and chat. Jiu Jianghu has already arranged for a warm guide. Please. Luo Feng nodded. At the same time, he glanced at Mo Yuqingyan in the distance. Morosa nodded slightly. Mo Yuqingyan was a little excited. How could the master be so powerful? Many thoughts emerged in Mo Yuqingyan's mind. She felt like she was floating in the air. It was too unreal. The master is certainly amazing. Morosa on the side. Lord Luosa, the outside world thought you were the master's protector. Mo Yuqingyan whispered. How can I be worthy of being the master's protector? I am really just a servant. Morosa said with emotion. He told the truth, even his soul was enslaved, an absolute servant. Morosa knew very well that his master Luo Feng was a cultivator and could naturally integrate into some major forces in the origin continent, but he, Morosa, had to hide in the dark and think twice before taking action. In fact, his master was his protector. Boy, seize the opportunity, Morosa looked at Mo Yuqingyan and said, it is your great luck to be the master's only disciple. You must cherish this opportunity. Mo Yuqingyan nodded. It was such a great opportunity to become the only direct disciple of a peak chaos being. Naturally, he needed to be careful with his words and actions. Morosa looked at this scene, this lucky boy. The master is not just an ordinary being at the peak of Chaos Realm. At this moment, the other practitioners were envious of the conversation between Morosa and Mo Yuqingyan as they watched from afar. Is this the strength of Lord Luoha? General Yuefu, Mo Lixiao, Lord Huyang and other eternal true gods were all shocked. This being actually cried when listening to Arroyo's music and mine. Lord Menghua sighed secretly. I guess he cried because his heart was touched. It is indeed his true nature. Jiao Rengi, I saw from afar this Chaos Realm being who was more powerful than Liu Yinhu, and he was willing to help me get revenge. For many practitioners, this may be the first time in their lives that they have seen such a majestic and huge divine body. Even Lord Zhejiang felt an extremely strong sense of oppression, and one can imagine the shock to the minds of ordinary practitioners. Flame Wind Hall. Brother Luo, he is actually a peak Chaos Realm being. Di Chuyu was very impressed. It just seems that he is so focused on cultivating his divine body that he is a little weak in other aspects. At the Chaos Realm level, there are dozens of people in the entire Origin continent who are proficient in divine bodies, but there are only a handful of Chaos Realm people in the entire Origin continent who can compete with the heaven and earth. The deputy museum owner sighed. As a member of the royal family of the ancient country of Yangfeng, he has a wide range of knowledge. Emperor Chuyu smiled and said, "You don't have to worry too much about the infinite divine body in the Chaos Realm wanting to grow to the height of heaven and earth. It's too difficult. Those who focus on divine body cultivation pursue a stronger divine body, not a higher level. For example, the famous Minghua Hu in my Yangfeng ancient country focuses on physical cultivation and is not big in size, but it can reach the transcendent level of the Chaos Realm and can fight with some ordinary divine kings without losing the upper hand. The peak of the Chaos Realm, in some marginal countries, it can be regarded as the strongest in the Chaos Realm. However, in the two ancient countries, there is a Chaos Realm that surpasses the peak of the Chaos Realm and reaches an incredible level. If the peak of the Chaos Realm touches the threshold of the God King, the Chaos Realm transcends the power of existence and its essence is already at the God King level. It's just that such beings are very rare, and almost all of them have mixed abilities in the two ancient countries. Luo he is able to suppress Liu Yinhu, so naturally he is stronger than Liu Yinhu. But he couldn't even force out any of Liu Yinhu's secret methods to save his life. It can be seen that his advantage is limited. Di Chuyu smiled. Once he becomes a guest official of our Di Chu lineage and receives better training, I believe he will achieve greater success. Di Chuyu was very happy that the first guest official he invited to the Chaos Realm had such extraordinary potential. He was well aware that the competition among the 13 branches of the royal family was fierce. The stronger your helpers are, the smoother your path will be. If he can go one step further and reach the Chaos Realm transcendental level, he will be of much greater help. The deputy museum owner said. In the ancient country of Yangfeng, the status of the ancient god kings is naturally very high, and only the Chaos Realm transcendent beings have a high enough status. There are 13 branches of the royal family, and in each branch there are royal Chaos Realm people, many disciples under the emperor, disciples of the god king as guests, and some independent Chaos Realm people. The competition is too fierce. The peak of the Chaos Realm? They were not very impressive. Many peak Chaos Realm beings eventually chose to leave the ancient Flame Wind country. I'm a little worried, said the deputy museum owner. I've never heard of such a strong man before, and now a Chaos Realm peak suddenly appears. What is there to worry about? Di Chuyu smiled. At most, he is just a reincarnated god king. There are indeed some strong people who are reincarnated in the Origin continent. But to the ancient country of Yangfeng, these are just some small waves caused by the endless ocean. In the elegant pavilion of the Huyang city lord's mansion, Luo Feng and Zhu Jianghu sat opposite each other. This time, I really have to thank brother Luo he. Zhu Jianghu was full of emotion. I have traveled across most of the Origin continent in this century and visited many friends, hoping to find a strong helper, but I couldn't find any. Luo Feng could also understand that Liu Yinhu was a tyrannical and domineering person who would do anything to get what he wanted. Other peak Chaos Realm masters would have to think twice before becoming his enemy. That is Luo Feng, who came to the Origin continent through the reincarnation channel. He has nothing to worry about and does things more unscrupulously. If the entire human race is on the continent of Origin and my family and friends are here, I would have to think twice. I understand their difficulties, and I can't afford to pay them enough. Zhu Jianghu was moved when he saw Luo Feng, and this time, I only paid 100 million cosmic sands, which is not worth mentioning. Brother Luo he helped me keep my fief. I really don't know what to say to thank brother Luo he, but I can't give him anything precious enough. Zhu Jianghu's resources are all used for his own cultivation. His own weapons and secret treasures are too important to him. There are really no treasures of sufficient value to thank him for. After thinking about it, Zhu Jianghu looked at Luo Feng and said, Brother Luo, he lives in seclusion in Huyang City and has fought for the people of Huyang City many times. As for the Xinjiang sect itself, let it leave. The outside world cannot accuse Brother Luo he of bullying the weak. Zhu Jianghu said, "What do you think, Brother Luo he? As long as the Chaos Realm people don't offend themselves, they generally won't bully the weak. Search for treasure and let them go." Luo Feng shook his head slightly. "When they were looting and slaughtering people in Huyang City, they already offended me." Lord Zhejiang was startled. "Since you like to kill and plunder, there is no need for this Xinjiang sect to exist anymore. We can disband it," Luo Feng said. "As for those eternal true gods, track them down one by one. Those who massacred people in Huyang City will be executed without a single one spared. As for those who were not massacred, let them go." The Xinjiang sect is disbanded, Zhu Jianghu could not help but say. "There are 2 Chaos Realm members outside the Xinjiang sect. If we do this, we will completely offend them. I've offended them, so what can they do?" Luo Feng glanced at Zhu Jianghu. "I don't have the good temper of Zhu Yuan Great Sage." When Zhu Jianghu heard this, he smiled and said, "Okay, I'll follow Brother Luo his instructions." He also secretly sighed. This Brother Luo he has only an old servant and a disciple who are close to him, so he naturally does things without too many scruples, which is really envious. Fortunately, such a peak existence in the Chaos Realm is his friend. Huyang City is returned to Brother Luo he. "I still need to report to the king." Zhu Jianghu said, "It is mainly because the 5 major families that originally managed the city lord's mansion need to be resettled. Then I'll have to trouble Lord Zhejiang." Luo Feng nodded. During their conversation, the fate of all parties in Huyang City was decided. In Huyang City, the Xinjiang sect was in a state of panic. "Marquis Liu Yin has retreated, what should we do?" The leader of the Xinjiang sect, the 18 elders, and Qiu Yi were all a little confused at the moment. Because at this moment, their life and death had already been decided by Marquis Zhejiang. "What can we do? Great Sage Luohe and Lord Zhejiang are both in the city. We have no power to resist and can only let them deal with us. For the sake of the 2 ancestors, we should be spared. As for the treasure, I'm afraid it will be taken away." They were also discussing. Suddenly, a wave of void swept across the entire Xinjiang sect space, and all the eternal true gods of Xinjiang sect had no power to resist and were all moved away by the void. "Here it is. We were caught." When they looked around, they found themselves in a huge prison. The leader of Xinjiang sect and others knew very well that they were captured alive without any resistance, and it was a form of teleportation. It must have been done by Marquis Zhejiang himself. Inside the prison, Jiang Yuyo, one of the personal guard commanders under Lord Zhejiang, and his men looked coldly at the thousands of eternal true gods in front of them. Beside him stood Morosa and Mo Yuqingyan. "I am under the order of City Lord Luohe to investigate the Xinjiang sect's looting of Huyang City and the massacre of its citizens," Jiang Yuyo said. As soon as these words were spoken, the hearts of many eternal true gods of the Heart Shadow sect trembled. "Investigating the looting and slaughter, ancestors, we have been captured alive by the great sage Luohe and Marquis Zhejiang, and they are also investigating our looting and slaughter. What should we do?" The leader of the Xinjiang sect contacted the 2 Chaos Realm ancestors at the same time. "Hold it. Now, my Xinjiang sect cannot afford to offend the great sage Luohe." The 2 ancestors responded, one briefly and the other with an explanation. "Just let them be beaten and killed like this?" Xinjiang sect master continued to question. The 2 ancestors just watched as one of the ancestors simply cut off the communication. "It depends on whether Great Sage Luohe is merciful." Another ancestor responded and also cut off the communication. The 2 Chaos Realm ancestors are already exhausted. The last time was when the disciples of Xinjiang sect acted recklessly for a long time and finally inadvertently killed the bloodline of Jiuyuan Great Sage, causing Jiuyuan Great Sage to come and kill them. At that time, one ancestor died and the other 2 ancestors escaped. Jiuyuan Great Sage, there are still many concerns when doing things. This Luohe Great Sage is more powerful than Liu Yin Marquis and has fewer concerns. If he angers this person again, one of their two ancestors may die again. Ancestor. No matter how hard the Huyang sect master tried to contact them, the two ancestors cut off all communication. According to the order of City Lord Luohe, the entire Huyang sect is ordered to plunder and massacre. The entire sect no longer needs to exist and will be dispersed. Jiang Yuyo said, all Huyang sect disciples who plunder and massacre will be killed without mercy. Thousands of eternal true gods present were trembling with fear. The sect was gone, so they had to fight and kill. If they just robbed and didn't kill, they can be given a lighter sentence. Jiang Yuyo said again. Give him a lenient sentence. Many eternal true gods breathed a sigh of relief, and only a small number of them were slaughtered wantonly. My Huyang sect has two Chaos Realm ancestors, how dare you kill us? Luohe Great Sage and Jiu Jianghu are both in the Chaos Realm. They cannot bully the weak with their big ones. Suddenly, many of the eternal true gods who were carrying out the slaughter became anxious and crazy. But the formation of the City Lord's mansion easily restrained them, making them speechless. The City Lord's mansion also has Luo Feng and Jiu Jianghu in charge. How can the eternal true gods of Huyang sect resist? My City Lord's mansion monitors the entire city and recorded many scenes of looting and slaughter. And the Huyang sect itself also recorded the looting and slaughter at that time. Jiang Yuyo and Morosa said, no one who slaughtered will escape, and they will not kill an eternal true god by mistake. The master is still very merciful. Morosa looked indifferently at the group of eternal true gods of the Heart Shadow sect. Lord Luohe is merciful. Those who enjoy slaughter should be killed. Those weak people have no power to resist, so there is no need to slaughter them. It's just that some disciples are wantonly causing trouble and bringing trouble to us. It is the great Saint Luohe who is merciful and lets us go. Those eternal true gods of the Heart Shadow sect who were able to survive praised them. As long as you are alive, what does a sect matter? The sect has already declined and split. Morosa, you have to do things relatively normally. Actively admitting that he is a reclusive peak of the Chaos Realm, this is the best excuse. Perhaps the outside world will doubt that he is a reincarnated strongman. This suspicion alone is not worth mentioning. Since you have already reached the Chaos Realm, I have also broken through the Chaos Realm for some time. Di Chuyu said, then we can prepare to return to the ancient country of Yangfeng. I can leave at any time. Luo Feng said. Because of the large amount of information from his master, the Zhushank lineage and the Duandonga lineage, Luo Feng was very curious about the Yangfeng ancient country and really wanted to go and see it. Moreover, the original ancestor was also in the Yangfeng ancient country and said that he would go and join him. You should know that most of the truly powerful people in the entire origin continent are in the two ancient countries. Di Chuyu said, for example, in the Chaos Realm, the marginal countries generally reach the peak of the Chaos Realm and cannot improve any further. But in the two ancient countries, there are more powerful and special inheritances which make it possible for Chaos Realm practitioners to have the strength of ordinary god kings. This kind of strength is what our two ancient nations consider to be the limit of the Chaos Realm, and it is also called the level of transcendence of Chaos Realm, Emperor Chuyu explained. As for the cultivation at the Divine King level, our two ancient nations are also far superior to any other nation. Powerful god kings like the Lord of Yu and the Lord of Sha who established second-rate countries are almost all guest officials of the two ancient countries. Emperor Chuyu said, except for the natives, all other forces in the entire origin continent will choose to join one of the two ancient countries. Luo Feng nodded. He knew this. The marginal countries of the origin continent must choose one side to join. Only forces at the first-class country level can make friends with the two major countries at the same time. There is only the Yangfeng Guild Hall in the territories of Yu State, Sha State. In the entire origin continent, it is actually the two ancient countries that make the rules. Emperor Chuyu said. All the other powerful ones revolve around them. The territory occupied by the two ancient countries is also the center of the entire origin continent. The most precious resources of the origin continent are also in the hands of the two ancient countries. Di Chuyu looked at Luo Feng. Similarly, the competition within the ancient countries is also very fierce. There are many factions within our ancient country of Yangfeng. The competition among the 13 branches of the royal family, the disciples of the emperor, the disciples of the guest god king, and the idol practitioners like you, brother Luo He, is very fierce. Di Chuyu said, there are only so many precious resources, but there are many competitors. In the end, the strong will become stronger, and the weak will have fewer resources. Di Chuyu looked at Luo Feng. I'm back in the ancient country and need your help. Of course, I will help you. I see. I've heard that the two ancient countries are full of powerful people and the competition is fierce. Luo Feng said. It is not easy to avenge Master Swashanka. When the three rulers of the Food Kingdom joined forces, Master Swashanka was still able to escape. Obviously, at the level of a god king, it is very difficult to completely kill a god king. If I want to kill the three rulers of the Food Kingdom, I must be far superior to them. To grow to that level, I don't even have a suitable inheritance now. The best way is to go to the ancient country of Yangfeng. I have never been afraid of competition. In addition to internal competition, there is also a conflict with the Thunder Ancient Country. Di Chuyu said, the border conflicts between the Flame Wind Ancient Country and the Thunder Ancient Country have never stopped. Small conflicts are fights at the Chaos Realm level. Big conflicts, that's when the God Kings take action. I've heard everything. Luo Feng grinned, but his heart was filled with fighting spirit. The perfect divine body of the Chaos Realm that integrates the 5 transformation methods is still afraid of war. Good. Di Chuyu looked at Luo Feng's confident look and felt more happy. To be honest, he was a little worried about the future. After all, he was a new breakthrough and his strength was still relatively weak. In the early stage of growth, he really needed the help of the guests. Soon, a new owner will be coming to the Flame Wind Guild Hall. After the affairs are handed over, we can return. This video will end here.